Good afternoon. I want to thank you all for joining us here for the 2015 Dr. Martin Luther King Community Forum. Before we begin our program, though, I want to remember Reverend Nelson Fuzzy Thompson. Most of you know he passed away this past week. You also probably know that Fuzzy was the president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference in Greater Kansas City, and for many, many years led civil rights, peace, and justice actions. I was privileged to work with him over the years on issues ranging from anti-apartheid to opposition to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. He embodied the revolutionary call for justice and peace articulated so well by Dr. Martin Luther King. Reverend Thompson will be missed. His absence is a great loss. But rather than just grieve, I encourage and invite you to follow his example. To step up, take a stand, work for equality, justice, and peace. I know that is what he would have wanted. So let's just take a moment and send our prayers and good wishes to his family and offer our thanks. Thank you. My name is Ira Harritt. I'm Kansas City Program Coordinator for the American Friends Service Committee. AFSC is a Quaker-based peace and justice organization that has had many connections with Dr. King. In the 50s and 60s, AFSC's social action was interwoven with the civil rights movement. And we continue to work for civil rights and human rights today. Among the connections are the fact that AFSC nominated Dr. King for the Nobel Peace Prize, a privilege of former Peace Prize recipients. We arranged for an invitation for Dr. King and his wife Coretta to visit India in 1959, to go to the places and meet the people associated with Mahatma Gandhi. And we printed and distributed several 100,000 copies of Dr. King's letter from the Birmingham House jail in advance of the March on Washington. So our connection goes back many years. Here in Kansas City, for over 10 years, AFSC has organized an MLK community forum focusing on Dr. King's demand for radical social change. We want to thank the Southern Christian Leadership Conference of Greater Kansas City for co-sponsoring this forum today and those over the past 10 years. And we want to thank Metropolitan Missionary Baptist Church and Reverend Wallace Hartsfeld for hosting the forum this afternoon. In addition, I want to thank the other sponsors of this afternoon's forum and the group's tabling. Sponsors and tabling groups include Communities Creating Opportunity, El Centro, Empower Missouri, formerly MASW, KC Move to Amend, Missourians to Abolish the Death Penalty, One Struggle KC, Una Luca KC, Peaceworks KC. Other tabling groups include Aim for Peace, Concerned Clergy Coalition, Promo, and Stand Up KC. Our intention for holding the forum is to promote more work for social change. I encourage you to please visit the tables, find out what these organizations are doing, and find a way for you to participate, to support the movement, to help create the world that Dr. King envisioned. And I want to thank the panel members from whom you will soon be hearing, all of whom have devoted a considerable part of their lives to work for social change. The theme of tonight's panel is an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring, changing systems of racism, poverty, and militarism. The title is taken from the words of Dr. King's speech in 1967, "Where do we go from here?" He stated, "I want to say to you, as I move to my conclusion, as we talk about where to go from here, that we honestly face the fact that the movement must address itself to the question of restructuring the whole of American society. There are 40 million people here, and one day we must ask the question, why are there 40 million poor people in America? And when you begin to ask that question, you are raising questions about the economic system, about a broader distribution of wealth. When you ask that question, you begin to question the capitalistic economy. And I'm simply saying that more and more, we've got to begin to ask the question about the whole society. We are called upon to help discourage beggars in life's marketplace. But one day we must come to see that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring. It means questions must be raised. You see, my friends, when you deal with this, you begin to ask the question, who owns the oil? You begin to ask the question, who owns the iron ore? You begin to ask the question, why is it that people have to pay water bills in a world that is 2/3 water? These are questions that must be asked. So many would like to see Dr. King as a let's all get along, let's have racial harmony. But if you look deeper, he called for radical change. If Dr. King were alive today, I believe his response to the increasing poverty, economic inequality, militarism, and racism would only increase the intensity of his call for restructuring our society. With these things in mind, let us hear from our outstanding panel of community leaders. Each panel member will offer some brief comments on our theme, and then we will open the floor to your questions and comments.